My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Why so serious?
I can crush you like a worm.
At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no try.
All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Christian Warrior Talk, episode number 26. Oh, we're
Trucking right along.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
You know, we've got a lot to talk about, as usual. And, you know, a lot of good news for, you know, as far as this program's concerned. You guys have been doing awesome in your viewing hours, man.
We're not supposed to do this anymore. Never mind.
Yeah, so how ridiculous is that?
Started off the show with being a racist. Cool.
Yeah. So as of this show, we are up to, let's see, the magic number is 3.2K?
Yep.
3.2K viewing hours. We need to get to 4. Last time we spoke to you, we were at 2.7, so we've gone up.
Yeah, you guys rocked
You guys
it over the weekend.
crushed it over the weekend. I know we got a lot of people up there leaving their devices on and keeping it running so that we can get those 4,000 viewing hours. Not so much to the monetization, because it's going to be hundreds of thousands of hours before that, or viewers before that's going to be worth it, but to open up the super chat and other features. So, hey, Salty Sam, good evening. Steven, Raleigh, good evening. Good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us. I see we got people on Facebook and YouTube. If you're joining us from YouTube. Facebook. Lauren's going to drop a link in chat for you to join us on YouTube, where we need the viewing hours. So head on over to YouTube. I promise you it's going to be a good show. First topic we're going to talk about tonight is one that was very near and dear to my heart. And I got into a lot of online.
Let us know in chat if you did not watch the Super Bowl.
Actually, with our audience, I think it'd be better if you watch the Super Bowl.
I don't know. Take pride if you did not watch the Super Bowl. You can shout out, get the credit where it's due. So, or if you did watch it, pipe in with why you watched it.
Right. So, you know, I did a pretty heated, if you go on over to our community tab on YouTube, you can see the post that I put up there. I made a meme, you know, basically saying, you know, I saw a bunch of people that I really respect that are, you know, either Christian men of God or principal, and they were almost all cops or former military. Mm. And they were all chiming in, who's going to win the game, this, that, and they were getting all this excited talk. And I said, what the heck are you doing even watching the NFL? Mm. You know, and this is coming from a reformed NFL addict. You know, I'm from Boston. I was a diehard Patriots fan forever. And once the Kaepernick stuff started and the NFL went off on this crazy self-destructive tangent where they decided they were going to throw in with the people who hate America.
They got woke.
Yeah. They got woke. I haven't watched football really since. And, you know, and I wanted to watch Tom Brady win yesterday, but not more than I respect myself, and more importantly, not more than I respect law enforcement and my fallen brothers and sisters in the military, who they wipe their ass with every time they talk about BLM, every time they have kneeled or talk about all this garbage that the NFL has propagated. BLM is based up on the law. Like, that whole thing started with the hands up, don't shoot. Right. That did not happen.
Right.
And just a bunch of absolute, you know, garbage. And I just wonder how my brothers in blue and brothers and sisters in green can even, like, do they not understand that they're supporting it when they watch it?
Yeah, no, I saw some of the comments where you're like, you know,
awesome,
not all the players, you know, hate America, or they don't all kneel. But I'd say kind of the organization as a whole has clearly
come out against
made their stance known about their support for those causes that are hurting the country. So, and I think a lot of people are just willing to put aside, kind of tuck that in back in a box for a little while because they so enjoy the game, and they've earned the distraction this year and all of that stuff. And you are, I've said this before, you are one of the most principled people I know as far as following through on positions that you stand for. And I think a lot of people fall short of that, and it's hard to break something that's as enjoyable for most people as the football habit.
Well, I was talking to a friend who went over to a Super Bowl party, and he didn't watch the game. I'm like, that's fine. And I have an alibi for people who have kids who are watching, but you have to use it as a coachable moment. Like if you're watching to observe skill, or you're trying to provide coaching or life lessons, but what kind of life lesson do you do when you're willing to compromise and support people who are directly destroying our country? Like the meme, if you haven't seen it, said, who's going to win the football game or the Super Bowl? And I said, China, 100-0. Because, basically people still care about a stupid kids game when, freedom died this year. Freedom legitimately died this year. And for the, and our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids are going to be less free because we didn't have the courage to do anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the kids game thing is one piece. I think it's okay for people to seek out a distraction now and then right now, even though you can say, yes, America died. But, I mean, there's an extent to which everyone's going to need kind of a mental break. I think it's picking where you spend that time, though, and who are you supporting with that action. So certainly finding a distraction or supporting a different sector of athletes or athletics, if that's where you like to.
It's just like with your viewing hours, you're supporting all of those sponsors.
Yeah.
All those sponsors who most of them, I didn't see who they were, but I'm sure a vast majority of them with their woke commercials. I heard everyone complaining about their commercials. I heard everyone complaining about the halftime. I can only think of 2 halftime shows worth of damn. One was U2 after 9/11, and then Prince playing and freaking Hurricane, playing Purple Rain in the rain, real rain in Miami.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, it's such a sellout thing, right? Because stadiums all across America, they don't play Bruno Mars during a game. They play heavy metal. They play arena rock, right? AC/DC and Led Zeppelin.
They have to go poppy now during halftime for people who are watching.
But that's why it's not even for the real fans. It's for the person who tunes in for that only.
Only that game, yeah.
Right? And it's just a
well,
shame.
And now, it was no surprise that they chose a black artist for their halftime show this year.
Right.
I'm surprised it was a black male.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't add in more factors there, but I didn't watch the performance other than a clip. So no, I know that there's a lot of
I didn't know who he was.
Perplexed people about all of the people with their
jock strap on their head and yeah. So anyways, I was just really, really bummed. I really lost a lot of hope for us fixing anything. If I can't get cops to not watch the Super Bowl
for 1 year,
if I can't get them to act in their best interest. That league hates them. And 75% of the players hate them. And yeah, there might be 25. Like Tom Brady, I don't think has a bad bone in his body. But there's enough of them to where if I can't just support Tom.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And it's unfortunate. Tom's going to be fine.
I know that you tried to kind of wiggle in your reasoning a year or two ago of, well, the Patriots haven't taken a stance yet, but then even that.
Well, they did, and then I tried to negotiate with myself and say, well, Belichick wrote a letter of endorsement
leaders of
for that, and Brady had a MAGA hat in his locker and all that. But I was just trying to cheat myself. I was just being selfish and not being willing to sacrifice my entertainment for my country, for my brothers, and for the men and women standing the watch right now.
Yeah, because I think certainly. ratings sends a big message to
Totally.
TV organizations, and they have to mind those numbers. And so if there had been a massive tune out this year, I think that the message would have been driven home. I know that they had some dip.
The problem is they
it's not
base their
consistent
entire marketing model now on 13% of the population, right? And they have alienated the other half of the country.
Yeah, but they just don't care.
I get they don't care because we can't even get cops to not watch the football game.
We're like abused puppies. Just keep going back to the source.
Well, it just
matter
shows you
what.
a lack of either, I don't
Hi,
know.
I'm awake. Thanks for joining us tonight. How are the kiddos?
Yeah, I hope
You
they're great.
surviving all of the the toddler chaos.
But I just don't understand. Like I've argued with my former partner who's still on the job in Boston, and I'm like, dude, how can you? I just wanted this, I just wanted that. But there's a million other things you could do instead of that. Like you are literally supporting the people who are killing cops. They are funding it. They have given hundreds of millions of dollars to BLM. And, the destruction of America and to the Democrat Party, which is the whole next thing with the border and the Unholy Alliance. Laura Logan with Fox News did a huge story of the Unholy Alliance between the Chinese and the drug cartels on the, coming through the Texas border.
Okay.
And then Jesse Waters, who I don't consider a hard-hitting newsman, but he's getting there. Like he started off as like an obnoxious interviewer.
Is he one of the last true
Yeah,
voices on
like-
Fox?
Well, exactly, him and Tucker. And he did a story today on, talking, summarizing Laura Logan's reporting. And it was basically the Democrats' plan to turn Texas blue and guarantee that we will never have a Republican president again. And I feel like grabbing Jesse and saying, we're never going to have a Republican president again because there's never going to be another fair election.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still talking. I mean, he's got a point there right now, and he went over all the things that Biden's doing to, flood the people coming in the border, telling them they're going to get all this stuff, telling them we're going to get COVID vaccines, telling them they're going to get health care. We don't have enough COVID vaccines for our own people if you're one of the people who wants one.
Yeah.
We are completely bankrupt. Like this whole year where no one, like there is going to be poverty on an unheard scale, and he just took the cap off of refugees. So right when we're at our poorest, let's get more. And why would Dems do this? Why would they do this? Like, why would they purposely destroy our country? It's because they want a one-party system, and they know they'll never have a Republican to run against it, and they'll be able to do whatever they want. So all of society will get poorer, except for those in power. Except for John Kerry and his freaking planes and his 10 houses and all these people lecturing you on your use of an SUV to fit your family and 3 dogs.
I think it's just surprising that they didn't even waste even a month of pretending that they were going to kind of be on the up and up, or, unity, yay, you know, any of this stuff. They just dove right into it. And I don't know if it would be wise for them to have waited a little longer, to try to kind of reinforce a little bit more of their base in thinking that they were voted for the right cause. Because, I mean, I'm sure more people will notice this. Oh, gosh, I would hope so. I shouldn't say I'm sure, because who knows anymore. But you'd think that by diving right into being outwardly unfair, that's going to get a few more people to notice.
Yeah. So, one, can you guys hear me? I just got a text saying that when I look at Lauren to talk, you guys lose me. Do I go to 0, or is it just fainter because it's a directional mic? I can turn up my gain, but I'm afraid it's going to be in the red as I go. I'm trying to move the mic further away from my face to avoid those high pops and things. It is absolutely, no surprise to me anymore how low the Democrat Party will go. They have no fear. Why should they? No one's ever held accountable.
Yeah.
They can get away with whatever they want. The press covers for them. They're the only people who can hold them accountable is the people, and the people can only hold them accountable if they're informed by the press, and the press is a co-conspirator with them.
Yeah, it just seems like they don't bother hiding anything anymore. They're out and proud as far as they're like, we got the seat, so we're good to go.
Yeah, and it's really, I watch a series you would like called Dude, You're Screwed. It's about 5 ex-special forces that kidnap each other and drop each other off in different terrains in the world and have like 3 days to find civilization. I binge watched that instead of the Super Bowl. I'm all set with football, period. Can care less for it anymore. I completely agree with you, Larry. And, you know, I've given up all sports. I refuse to watch adults play a kid's game at all anymore. There's just, I could be watching something else to be smarter.
Well, so I think,
better
so that, I don't know what that is, but that's an example of, it's a distraction. It's not a serious thing, but you're learning something. I mean, you're seeing what people do to survive out in the wilderness.
So as far as the Democrats could have waited, again, I just think it's, why they have no fear. They control everything. Like the My Pillow guy released a 3-hour video, and we have people who are, close to that situation, and they were all like, don't worry, the world's about to become a better place. This special is going to change everything, and nothing happened. Why?
I know it.
Because the time for that was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
There's nothing anyone can do about it. We have
late.
no power. We have no power anymore.
Yeah. And the majority of people are just saying, okay, let's just say he won fairly and move on. So I know that news stations weren't wanting to give any talking time to this video at all. I went back and I watched that Newsmax clip.
Yeah.
And that was prior to the video, but I think Mike Lindell was kind of making rounds on interviews. But yeah, I mean, so they just don't want to hear it anymore. And that guy that we know who is connected, he just seems so disappointed that, he'd hyped this up so much. Well,
I mean,
I guess no one cares about election fraud anymore.
And I said, we care, but what can we do?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only one thing to do right now, and that's get kinetic if you want immediate change. And we already know what that's going to turn out to be. So,
did you see that Daniel Hogg, that
he's
awful
starting a
student
competitor
from awful's a mean word, but that student from
the gun control
Parkland shooting
Nazi who from Parkland who
he's starting a pillow company to put Mike Lindell out of business
and get rich.
Yeah.
Right. And to get rich.
I think he's about to realize that there's a heck of a lot more Christian conservatives out there that he realizes in his little bubble.
Yeah, Larry, they already do have total power right now, right? The only people we can hold accountable right now are the traitors, like the Mitch McConnells and all of the Republican, Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, I always forget, Lisa Murkowski.
Yeah, Murkowski.
Et cetera. We can hold all of our traitors. Liz Cheney.
Yeah.
All of them. We can hold all of them accountable. And when it comes election time, they can never, ever, 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 ever hold office as a Republican again. Make them switch to a D.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be that way, switch to a D. I want nothing to do with you. You're all set.
I would like to think that they will all be voted out. But it's one of those, I think, it's that
Susan
line.
Collins' mom,
it's that line of, people are so afraid to vote against the R and lose more.
Well, I'm just talking about
power
primarying. Primary, right?
Yeah.
We need to primary every one of these clowns and take them out. And the fact that only 60-something people voted against Liz Cheney to keep her leadership seats, that just shows me that there's 200 and something or whatever the number is Republicans that need to go. And it's very disheartening. I see a lot of people again who've been talking about the Patriot Party, a third-party system. We can't even win right now with 2 parties. How are we going to win with a third?
No, I don't.
Right?
Think it's a good idea
I just don't see it, and I don't think it's a good idea. I think we need to clean house in ours and run a tight ship, and get into the whole, start teaching this next generation of leaders about loyalty to your voters, loyalty to the people who got you there, because they don't. They get to D.C. and then they forget their loyalties. I mean, Trump campaigned directly for people who just turned around and voted against him.
Right.
That's just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Like anybody who votes for any of those or even talks to any of those 2 senators out of Georgia who stabbed Trump, well, mainly Loeffler, all set.
What is she doing now? I mean, she was.
I'm sure she's rich. She's been she made her money off the stock market, and she just got to do insider trading and everything else like we all did. Remember, she got investigated for that big thing where she dumped all of her stock right before a bunch of bad stuff came out.
Was she involved in something like
and
that?
Then, and she said it was in a blind, whatever, and they can invest. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's, politics is so disgusting.
I haven't seen it. Speaking of stock market and all that, I haven't seen updates on the whole
Robin Hood thing.
GameStop recently. Do you know is
I
our
don't know
economy
anything about
crashing from that yet, or what's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I admire the guys who did it. I've seen people, saying all kinds of stuff. This is not my world.
Yeah.
It's not my world. I support sticking it to the hedge fund people and the people who literally make a living not doing anything, just betting and crashing and killing companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did with Cabela's.
Yeah.
And Tucker Carlson did an amazing story on that with one of the most powerful hedge fund guys out there.
Yeah.
Who just costs jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Totally destroys lives,
Mm-hmm.
To make money off it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely disgusting. So, yeah, there's Laura Logan's report, to get back to that, I kind of touched on that, is that literally the Chinese government is now working with the cartels. They're sending chemicals and Chinese equipment that the drug cartels are refining into fentanyl.
Okay.
And they have partnered with the coyotes and everything else in this human wall of people that are coming our way.
Mm-hmm.
They all have fentanyl, and it's so small.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50 times more powerful than heroin, and I don't know how many times more than morphine, or I might be getting those wrong, but you can literally overdose with 3 milligrams.
Wow.
And these people are all carrying up. So we all seem so fragmented right now. How do we get everyone to come together now that Trump's out? Well, Stephen, I don't know if you've watched any of our previous shows or if you just started watching us now. I'm all about right now, we are selling our house in Virginia for financial reasons and security reasons, and cultural reasons. We are in a culture war right now, and it's a civil war. It's a cold civil war, but it's a culture war, and we have to win that culture war. And I think right now the most important thing we can do is, if you're not directly tied, there are some people who can't move, and I understand that, and they shouldn't all move. Right? Some people need to stay in Massachusetts. They can't go. Some people have to stay in Virginia. They can't leave Virginia or wherever.
Yeah.
But we don't have any real anchor here.
Mm-hmm.
So, we are going to a deep, deep, deep red state and a deep, deep, deep red county. And we are going to strengthen our cultural base with like-minded individuals. And, and just like iron sharpens iron, sharpen one another and work on each other's convictions and build up our support network and say no further. And when the government oversteps its bounds and tries to come after our rights or something like that, we'll have a Republican governor, a Republican attorney general, a Republican mayor, a Republican sheriff, all those Republicans or conservatives to back us instead of being the defendant in a blue state with a blue attorney general, a blue governor, a blue mayor, with people who hate you all around you. And the chances of you getting a conservative judge are nil to none.
Yeah. I mean, as far as if it's kind of fragmented within the conservative or Republican Party, I mean, you have the people who are still like the Trumpers who are going to remain Trumpers that believe that the election was not fair. And then you have the Republicans who are just like, let's say it was fair. Let's move on. They never showed any proof and all that. So I think, do we have to reconcile that to try to bring back those? I mean, because I would say that those two parties don't agree with each other. Those two parties within our party don't agree with each other. And it's kind of hard to find common ground even there.
Well, I don't think there's any place for them in our Republican Party. I think that we have to drive them out. And that's just the way of it. Trump got more votes than any other Republican in history.
Mm-hmm.
He got more of the black vote. He got more of the Hispanic vote. He got more. We're growing our base. Theirs is the base that's dying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Republicans have the never Trumpers. All they had was Trump bad.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you asked, we have friends and family members of them, articulate a point you don't like about Trump. They have no policy.
Yeah.
Not one. They can't name one thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, so now it's about driving the never Trumpers out, the people who betrayed the cause out, and then rebuilding with new candidates and new people. And we need, Trump was amazing at a lot of different things. He did start a lot of fires that maybe didn't need to be started. If he was a little bit more effective of a communicator, I don't think the media ever would have spoken or put out anything positive on him. But when he gets up there and in his brash way, that was his way, even if I could get your mom to watch, he would turn her off instantly just with his personality, never mind the substance of his argument.
Yep.
And that's our next person, I hope, whether it's Don Jr., or whoever, it needs to be somebody who's not beholden to anyone.
Yeah.
And that's what was so great about Trump is he's the first president to go in there that I know of who lost half his net value.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Like he literally went in there and sacrificed billions to try to help us and his family. I'm 100% Trumper in Massachusetts. I still wear my MAGA gear and always will. Larry, that's awesome, man. And, welcome, to the show. The MAGA movement isn't going anywhere. If you look at the rap charts right now in pop music, you'll look and you'll see there's a whole bunch of people out there who are all pushing the MAGA movement. It's gone from Make America Great Again to Make America Godly Again.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this right now. All this did was fire up the base even more to get. Right now, obviously, there are a lot of people's feelings who are hurt, and there's a lot of people who are hurt, and there's a lot of people, Well, Salty Sam, they can try doing that, but there's way too many of us to do that. After we get over our pity party, which we're all in some version of a pity party.
Yeah.
I've caught myself being down and after all this, but the machine is going to crank back up here in about, 6 months.
On to the next election, you mean?
On to the midterms.
Yeah.
And it's going to be trying to take the Dems from this and that. And here is my caution to everyone. Do not ever vote for a moderate again. Don't ever sell out your soul for another Susan Collins.
Yeah, it's nice to think that they are the people who reach across the aisle and that whole nice, warm and fuzzy.
They will stab you in the back every time when you need them.
Yeah.
Every time they do it. And they just want the flexibility to do this. Yeah. Put their finger in the wind and do what they got to do. And so never, ever choose a principal candidate. And that way, if you lose, at least you lost going down swinging with a principal candidate.
Yeah. I don't think people have the stomach to even think about next elections right now.
Yeah, well, we're going to have to. I heard Candace Owens talking about throwing her hat in the race. I'd like to see her in. I mean, I don't think as president she's too young. I'd rather see
Candace Owens.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind Candace Owens as a VP.
I've seen her kind of put out a few feelers, and I don't know if it's just what she's gauging.
Yeah. So, I really, again, I don't know if Don Jr. or, I don't know if Eric Trump has the charisma.
It would be Don Jr. I don't think it would be Eric. I know that people are pushing for Laura, though.
Yeah, to be a senator, I think in Georgia, weren't they talking about her going in Georgia? Yeah, I don't know. I think that family is about as over it as we are right now, and I don't
blame them.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, but what we need to do right now is we need to, as we're consolidating culturally, like I talked about, we need to start looking for our own infrastructure and our own platforms, the parlors and this and that. Yeah. Right now, entrepreneurship and capitalists going after, fine, Amazon wants to take our servers, we'll build our own.
Yeah.
We'll build this, we'll do that, we'll do this. I can't wait till somebody can tell me the name of a phone company that I can switch to that's not Apple or Google phone, where I can, put Parler on my phone and they can't do anything about it.
I would have to think that there are some people who are kind of in that industry, conservatives in that industry, who are seeing the opportunity there to capitalize on it, knowing that providing anything for the 80 million Christians or 80 million conservatives would be well received right now.
Well, it just goes to show you, again, it goes with the NFL. I will gladly give up my iPhone or a G phone or whatever, an Android phone, whatever, for a free phone, a freedom phone. I don't care if it's as good. I don't care anything. I didn't like my parents telling me what to do. I don't like the government telling me what to do. I definitely don't want the people that I'm paying to be able to tell me what I can do. For them to sit there and say, oh, you're too stupid to have Parler on your phone. You can't handle that.
Yeah.
It's just insane. There should be no reaching across the aisle to compromise with socialist, collectivist, tyrannical elites. Absolutely, Salty Sam. There is no across the aisle. A lot of people, I remember I was just on the radio show last week, on a local radio show. And, one of the callers said, that Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, Democrat, Republican, used to go out and drink and they'd write down a list and so on. Why can't we get back to those days? I can tell you why we can't go back to those days. Because the Democrats broke that with Obamacare. Right? When they passed Obamacare on a simple majority vote instead of the 60 required, right? They legitimately destroyed that whole system to now where you don't need super consensus. If you don't need super consensus, then there is no compromise. All I need is one. And depending on how the electors go, or now they're talking about, adding Puerto Rico and DC, that's 4 more senators. Well, it's going to take us hundreds of years to counter that.
I wonder if any and how many people within government on the Democratic side kind of look at it and say, what have we done? The rabid dogs that they've created their constituency into, that now I'm sure that, they're probably scared of them and they're getting more and more progressive, more and more left to make sure that they get voted again by the people that have gone crazy on that side about all of these issues.
Does anyone know a moral Democrat? Can you be moral when you are for murdering babies? Stop. That's question number 1. Do you believe in killing babies, even ones that are born? Yeah. Okay, fine. I got nothing else to say.
And I can't remember the issue that it was, but I know that they've released kind of some phone calls, internal phone calls after, and they said there was a few people who said, we can never mention this again.
To fund the police ever again or whatever, yeah.
And
that was an attack on AOC from the person who beat
So it seemed
Nick
like there were
Freitas'
some
wife.
people who recognized the slippery slope that they're on, and I think it's probably one that they can't stop at this point.
Yeah. Well, there's also this side of the Republican Party that is like this social elite group, who they're in the know and they're all this thing and they're just cringeworthy. They're so cringeworthy that you're just like, I don't trust you. You're so slimy. I don't know. I'm all set. They're not real. And the Republican platform is very simple. It's conservatism, right? You can't bolt on LGBTQ stuff onto that. You can't, that goes against conservatism.
Right.
So, I feel like we should be, again, admitting who we are, embracing who we are, going after, conservatives who don't look like us. I mean, the Latino community is right in our box. The African American or Black America is right in our box. They're not beta.
Yeah.
Right? We have way more in common with them than the its of the world.
Yeah, if you can get them. And you see those videos of influencers who go around, conservative influencers who go around, and if they can get a one-on-one conversation or a small group conversation to articulate the points, that's how those minds are changed.
Yeah, and that's the Charlie Kirk, the Candace Owens, and and then there's a bunch of champions of hood guys.
Yes,
guys from the hood that go in there and be like, tell me one thing that so and so did for you, and they're like, 50 Cent told me to vote for him, so, I'll vote for him. But anyways, so this kind of brings me on to a point that we wanted to talk to tonight. So true. I'm Puerto Rican. My immediate family has been red pilled. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you that you were able to red pill your family. What I am purposely watching is people blue pilling all the time, and that's the people who watch the Super Bowl. They're purposely trying to stay in their comfort instead of like, they're actually giving bullets to the enemy against them. Like I can't fathom that.
Yeah.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about is how to repair family relationships, right? Particularly in this extremely challenging time. The other day, Lauren and I were lamenting some of our familial relationships. And I'm like, man, if we could just get them to just sit down, shut up, and not roll their eyes for an hour and just listen to our side, maybe we could heal.
Yeah.
Maybe they could see that we are rational and we are articulating our point. And, and if they don't believe what we're saying, they can go research it. But getting anyone to do that,
which is sadly very difficult. Yeah, I mean, I think getting to sit down is one thing. Doing it without inserting any eye-rolling feedback during the process is a whole other thing.
I think, it should be maybe an hour is too much. Give us 30 minutes, and then we'll give you 30 minutes.
I think it definitely has to go both ways.
I was just using it as a starting point, one way and then the other way, 30 and 30 or whatever. But I just didn't want it to turn into a debate.
No. Yeah, that's certainly where
debate's not going to be comfortable. Is not going to go anywhere. It's got to be, I'm going to speak my truth at you and let that sink in. And then you're going to speak your truth at me and we'll let that sink in. And then we can both go to our corners and research and find out if what they said is actually true. And, because let me tell you something, guys, we're not getting any younger. And, for those of you who are Christian out there, the hour is getting late, the end of days could be here tomorrow or in another 2,000 years where we're called to prepare no matter what. And, how many people around you are not saved?
Yeah.
Not saved, not even on the path, not even pointed in the right direction.
Yeah. And
when politics goes right along with religion. I am a Democrat Trumpster, and as the SEALs say, the only easy day was yesterday. Close. So yeah, the only easy day was yesterday is the quote. And I think you said I am a Democrat Trumpster. Yeah. Well, I mean, a Democrat Trumpster. I mean, I'm proud. I know that you're a big supporter of the show. What about you as Democrat would be my question. Trump kind of flipped, like the old Republicans and Democrats flipped a while ago. And they flip-flopped several times, but the Republican Party used to be all about big business. It's not anymore. It's now Main Street America. And they don't want to be because they lost all their money from big tech and big business to the Democrats, which is how many companies right now are, didn't do active shooter training. They did Me Too movement training. And now they're doing transgender bias training. We just had a friend of mine who's in a Fortune 100 company share screenshots with me with his insane bias training.
Yeah, what was it? Unconscious bias. What is it?
Unconscious bias, whatever. And it's, have you seen them rewrap our holding conversations with lefties? They have no logic to fight with, so they disconnect. Yeah, I mean, Chris.
Good for him for doing that.
Good for him for doing that. And I've seen Topher do that as well. I mean, the problem, those are all great things. When they just disconnect, I wonder if it's going to sink in and they're going to win. Like we win them over, or maybe a battle, or if they're just going to get frustrated and say, "Oh, well, that Fox News lies."
Yeah,
whatever,
I mean, the cognitive dissonance makes them so uncomfortable. I mean, you see video after video.
We are homeschooling as well.
They get loud. They just repeat their same point, or they call. That's usually when they start calling you racist or whatever.
Yeah.
But, Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that I would hope that those people would disconnect but stay on and see more conversations to at least, from the comfort of their own home, continue to be exposed to that conversation.
Yeah. And I mean, and you see, companies making terrible decisions based off their wokeness.
Yeah.
Fox News went from number one powerhouse in the business. They're not even in the top 4 anymore. Like I was just one.
Okay,
yeah.
have they dropped more? Because I thought you said
No,
they were
so
down to
because
3.
of Tucker and Hannity, they're 4, but their news programs are like in the teens.
Awful.
Like no one trusts them. And like Brett Baer's, Martha and all these people who spent their life building. Like I used to say Brett Baer was my go-to guy.
Yeah.
I still don't know how he votes, right? But it's over. I will not trust Fox News ever again because they played a vital role in all this. They just got rid of, the OG. The original MAGA guy. Holy smokes.
R something, isn't it?
Believe I'm forgetting his name. Lou Dobbs.
Not R.
Yeah. R. They just got rid of Lou Dobbs. Lou Dobbs had the number 1 show on Fox Business.
And he was the one who was, most aggressively
Pro-Trump.
following up on the election stuff. So no wonder he was canned.
And it's like, they are done, man. They're going to, I don't know, they're going to be nobodies.
They're going to be the next left program. I mean, it's so funny because,
yeah, Larry, Lou's gone. I think Lou is going to be moving to one of those other channels.
Trying to answer the name that you were thinking of at the same time as saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just canceled. We watched Fox through Hulu, and Fox was really the only reason we carried that subscription. And we canceled it today and are saving $80 a month.
Yep. So buy Hulu.
See you later, Hulu.
Now we'll pay $2.50 to get Cloud and watch OAN. OAN's the only channel now that's actually like Newsmax. There's some people on there that I think are legitimate, that are good people over there, but they're the head of their company is a Hillary Clinton Foundation guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's OAN.
No wonder they're starting to get squirrely with all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, what they did to the My Pillow guy, I won't watch them ever again after that.
Well, I know because they're all getting sued for entertaining conversations about the election issues and the voting machines and stuff. So yeah, so they're now getting sued, and so of course they don't want anyone to bring it up because that probably weakens their position in court.
So you got to hope that people like Trump and like other conservative powerhouses are going to start their own media companies. Like how long is Elon Musk going to tolerate this stuff?
Yeah.
That guy's like, again, I don't know much about him, but from what I've gathered, he seems to be a pretty no-nonsense guy. He seems to call balls and strikes as he sees them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That could be a show. It could be whatever. But wouldn't, I would hope, again, it's beyond hope. I mean, humans aren't going to help us anymore. Like I said, if I can't get cops to not watch the Super Bowl in their best interest, a billionaire is not going to grow morals and save us outside of Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's just it's a generational thing. Like he's the last of, your grandfather's generation your dad's generation. They're the same age.
Mid-70s?
Yeah.
Older
than dirt.
Jason thinks that in the 70s is like...
All right, guys.
One foot in the grave.
Is being in your mid-70s older than dirt?
No. I would say 80s, you're scratching older than dirt.
That's...
A lot of people live to late 80s, early 90s these days. 70s is like barely senior stage.
So anyways, so repairing family relationships, when it's a lot easier when you're the forgiver.
When you're the forgiver.
Yeah. Like, so, what kills me is when I see people hanging on to hate and anger and wounds and all that stuff, and they don't realize all they're doing is poisoning their own soul.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things to realize about that is the person who who you're not forgiving, they've probably long forgotten the sin against you. And they're on living their life, and you're there wallowing in that bitterness.
Yeah, because, I just talk to, I have friends who reach out to me from time to time who watch the show, and they may be in a bad marriage or whatever. And, Christians holding on to resentment and hate and wounds and not truly forgiving is a really big problem.
I mean, that's kind of the tenet of what we are called to do.
Remember, whatever we forgive, we will be forgiven for, right? He who is forgiven much he forgives much, and whatever measuring stick that we use against other people, that's the stick that's going to be applied to us. And it just really pains me to see people who just refuse to get out of their way.
Yeah.
And usually it's because of another wound in the past that just exacerbated this that they've never been healed for.
Yes.
And going through Operation Restored Warrior and getting the healing that I got from my upbringing and my wounds, I saw how it contaminated everything. It made me not want to have kids.
Right. To
instantly, I want to have kids.
Yeah.
And let's circle back on that.
Did you guys see, speaking of circle back, Topher dropped a new song. He put it together very quickly, it seems.
Yeah.
Called Circle Back. That is completely ribbing Jen Psaki.
Yeah. So, so again, it comes down to when you need to repair a relationship, when someone's done you wrong and you have to forgive them, they have to stop the behavior for you to forgive them. Like a domestic abuser who continues to beat you or is emotionally abusive to you, who keeps doing it, they can't ask for forgiveness while they continue to do it. I mean, they can, but do they truly repent and are they changing the behavior?
As the victim of a sin, you can forgive, and you are called to forgive whether or not they've repented or asked for forgiveness. But that also does not obligate you to stay in that situation.
Exactly. So, Joseph, who I consider one of the original biblical badasses before the Bible, before Jesus, before anything, was living this out with his brothers a long time ago, but he tested them. So the whole forgive but not forget, I don't think you're supposed to forget. You're supposed to forgive and then test them to see if they can have your trust again.
Yeah.
Right. And that is a tenement of this. So, my father, was an alcoholic and, in and out of prison, to drugs, the whole thing. And I forgave him for everything because I wanted him in my life. And I have a great relationship with him now. It was on me. He asked for forgiveness, though. Like, he asked for forgiveness. He went through AA. He's been dry for 30-something years. So he owned it. That doesn't mean that he hasn't wounded me since then or I haven't wounded him since then. Yeah. But the original aspect of it, the abandonment and, everything else.
Had you forgiven him prior to him asking for forgiveness or restarting that relationship? Like, had you moved on from the past with that, or did it take him reaching out? I'm not sure how that kind of started back up.
So I was always chasing him, is what it felt like to me. And when I would accomplish something in my life, I shared it with him.
Okay. Like
when I graduated through Buds, I invited him to come out. Yeah. And much to, my mom hated it, but I wanted to share it.
Were you holding on to the past? Because I know that you've let go of that now. At what point did you let go of that?
It's hard for me to judge somebody on what they did when they were 16 and 18 because I was such a knucklehead when I was 16 and 18, right? And for well on to years. And, he had turned his life around and he was, he's a good friend of mine now.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? He's a good friend of mine. And that's the key.
So can I read it? So I was looking up kind of forgiveness, and I knew that Tim Keller has put out, I love Tim Keller, so I reference him a lot, had put out some stuff about forgiveness. And he did a little blog about it, and I'm only going to read, can I read the last part of it?
Sure.
So he's like, there's two ways to handle an offense against you. One is to hold it against them, basically, and kind of seek vengeance. And then, so I'll read this part. There's another option, however, you can forgive. Forgiveness means refusing to make them pay for what they did. However, to refrain from lashing out at someone when you want to do so with all your being is agony. It is a form of suffering. You not only suffer the original loss of happiness, reputation, and opportunity, or whatever the offense was, but now you forego the consolation of inflicting the same on them. You are absorbing the debt, taking the cost of it completely on yourself instead of taking it out on the other person. It hurts terribly. Many people would say it feels like a kind of death. Yes, but it is a death that leads to resurrection instead of the lifelong living death of bitterness and cynicism. If they simply refuse to take vengeance on the wrongdoer in action and even in their inner fantasies, the anger slowly begins to subside. You are not giving it any fuel, and so the resentment burns lower and lower. Forgiveness must be granted before it can be felt, but it does come eventually. It leads to a new peace, a resurrection. It is the only way to stop the spread of the evil. So I like the way he framed that.
Yeah, I do too. I never thought about it as the agony and taking the consequences on yourself. But it's true.
It's so satisfying in the moment to throw it back at someone, and kind of and defend yourself, if you will. And so I think it is by swallowing that and choosing to not bring it back up when you're in argument, so an offense from your spouse and you say you forgive them, but the next time you have a fight, you bring it right back up. That's satisfying to bring that up and kind of reaffirm your position as the victim.
Right.
So I think choosing to not, you can suffer a little bit for that until you get past it.
And, in a society today where everybody is racing to be the victim, whoever can get the biggest victim status gets the best superiority.
Yeah. Well, and it never allows your partner to be the wronged person because you're always trying to outdo them with, well, I was wronged before.
It looks like we got a troll that's come on here. So let me
See you later, Clayton Bigsby.
So, so there he's gone. Sorry.
That's all right.
So the main thing that I had to, another way that I had handled. So my dad asked me for forgiveness.
Okay.
We saw who was right and who was wrong the same. Mm-hmm. He said he made the mistakes and all that, and that was all good. My relationship with my mother was very different. Mm-hmm. We saw things completely different, and that relationship was much more complicated. Again, my mom I'm great friends with my mom. Mm-hmm. Our relationship is as strong as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And the way we handled that is we sat down with some wine, and had a conversation.
Can I give some context?
Sure.
In that, around the time that we got engaged and such, I mean, they were completely estranged.
Yeah.
Not talking. There had been some issues with his grandmother, et cetera. I don't need to get into that part, but there was a period of a couple years that you guys just didn't speak. And then she heard or saw through Facebook that I was pregnant, I believe. Mm-hmm. And did she reach out first about that? Or you reached out to her to just say that she had a granddaughter on the way or something. Yeah. And so that kind of bringing in new life also brought new life to your relationship. Right. And she came for a visit, which was... Right.
So we sat down and I said, listen, I'm not here to judge you on anything that you've done in the past. We see some things in the past from very different lenses. Mm-hmm. You were an adult and you were having a different experience, and I was a kid, and we went up. So I'm going to give you my perspective, mm-hmm. and then you can give me your perspective. Mm-hmm. And again, none of this is to judge you. I can't even imagine who you were at those times. I just want to let you know how we got here.
Yeah.
And it was a very healing time and a very healing conversation. And my mom's had an extremely hard life. Mm-hmm. And so, again, it was very healing for us. And, we led my mom to the Lord.
Yeah.
It's a relationship that's a work in progress. Mm-hmm. She's in Nova Scotia, so it's a little tough. So there is a way that I was able to, heal a relationship without us seeing things the same, versus being on the same page. What I haven't been able to do is reconcile with somebody who doesn't want to be reconciled with. Like my mom wanted to have a better relationship with me. My dad wanted to have a relationship with me. I don't know if you guys have been able to figure this out, but how do you reconcile with somebody who doesn't want to be reconciled?
Well, I think that you forgive them,
right?
So that your heart is clear of that. You're not carrying that burden of that hate, anger, whatever you're feeling from that sin that they did towards you or whatever the situation. And then you move on with your life. I don't think it's necessary to continue to try to force a relationship that's just not there. Right. But I think you do need to forgive to then move on past it. Let them know that they're forgiven. I think let them know the door's open. But I don't think that you have to continue to kind of suffer to attempt a relationship that's not there.
Like I'm looking at relationships that I wish to repair, and like there's no repairing them when the other person doesn't want to. Mm-hmm. You can go say what you got to say, and then hopefully they'll grow up someday and get rid of that poison pill that they're just sucking on.
I think there has to be a willingness if it's a relationship, as you said, like with your mom. Situations are going to be viewed from two different sides. And so both parties, even if you think going into a conversation that you believe to be the wronged party,
right,
there is going to be something else that person says that might have caused them to wrong you, that they had felt wronged and you didn't know it. So you have to be willing to kind of give and get in that conversation, versus coming at it as, I am only seeking for your repentance, and I'm not going to even go introspective at all in what I might have done to contribute.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's such a bitter pill. I watched, hate consume people.
Oh, yeah.
And it stunts them so much, where they bring up something and you'll watch their blood pressure go up. You'll see the look in their eye, mm-hmm. and you're just watching parts of them die before your very eyes. Mm-hmm. And it's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I know that. So you've had a friend recently who reached out, their marriage is in a tough spot, and he did something in their marriage that she's very unhappy about, but there was part of what contributed to his action was kind of failures on her part, as being a good partner, and so I think she's looking at it as he's the only one who needs to seek forgiveness.
Right.
But from an outside perspective, you can say that they both need to seek forgiveness.
Yeah, everything's cause and effect, and you have to own your part in it. But that takes a very mature person, and it takes a whole person to do that.
Yes.
So when you're talking to somebody who's walking wounded, and who's wounded from their relationship with their dad or whatever, typically with women, it's with their dad. Typically with guys, it's with their dad. It's always usually the dad. Sometimes some mom issues, but the dad. And it's really hard for them to see past that. It just feels like you just grab their heart and you rip it right wide open again.
Yeah.
So again, if you guys have any secrets or any insight into healing or, healing with family members who don't wish to reconnect,
mm-hmm.
Or relationships that don't, right, how you can get around it other than saying your part and then praying for them. Well, and praying for them is the biggest thing.
I think one of the things about kind of the political strife that's going on in so many families right now, it's not even that there was a sin done against each other. It's just that there's a different belief system that has caused, maybe there were kind of sin moments or whatever in that names were called or whatever because of, you're an idiot or whatever for liking Trump or whatever.
Yeah.
But the issue there is more belief versus an action.
Yeah. So the problem is that you see two different worlds. Like the news media has done such a terrible job at calling balls and strikes that, there is no facts, there is no universal set of agreements anymore.
So that just seems like
everyone seems the other person's
education.
crazy. Yeah. It's they're crazy or you're crazy, right? Yeah. So I want to read Williams Rutledge. Wait a minute. I am 80 and still active every day and feel the best I ever have felt since I came to the Lord after I died from a heart attack and he brought me back 10 years ago. Well,
William Rutledge is not older than dirt.
You're not older than dirt. 80 William, it sounds like you're crushing it out there, and it's awesome, and we're so happy to have you here. And keep on putting, man. Keep on putting. So, and I'm glad that that you're here. I'd love to hear your testimony. I mean, that's got to be a pretty cool one.
Story.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, we've been going on for about an hour. So again, I don't want to keep everyone too late. Is finding time. It's so darn hard.
It is very hard.
So, we've been doing the Crucible Challenge, and my diet's been good. My time with God, my diet was perfect. My time with God has been good.
Mm-hmm.
My workouts have been terrible because, the crisis of two companies and moves and setting up stuff. And I just find myself chained to my desk 16 hours out of the day.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, workouts aren't happening, not making the progress I have. And, this is just my confessional to you guys. So, it's tough, and I got to figure it out. I got to figure out, do I work to 3 a.m. and then get up at 5, or 6 to work out? That's not going to work, So the good news is I feel like I'm coming out of this. Like, we got caught up. The website's up. If you haven't seen the website, it's Patriot Crusader Mission .com. It looks great. We've got
still fleshing it out some, but it's functional.
It's functional.
There's no lipsum orum, whatever Latin on there.
Yeah, lorem ipsum on there. We got our store. We created an entire catalog of awesome clothing. We made our Strength and Honor shirts, and after this show, I'm going to finish the hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really excited about it.
Those.
Yeah,
in the store on Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna order them ourselves, and hopefully we'll be modeling all of our new gear for you guys.
Yes, we just need to make sure that the payment processing works correctly.
So
if any of you guys jumped the gun.
But, we're so thankful for you guys, and we're so thankful that you are on this journey with us, for those of you who wonder what diet I was using, I dropped about 10 pounds, a little over. I went down to 12 at one point. I went on carnivore, which is just all meat, animal products. Yeah. So it's meat, cheese, milk, dairy. And it was great. I feel great. Like, my joints don't hurt. I'm not tired, not like that carbohydrate tired. Yeah. It was amazing that way. But, I stopped dropping weight because I'm still sitting at this desk.
Yeah.
And I was expecting it to be like back in the day where I cut out carbs and melt 20 pounds in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not the case anymore.
Because you are heading towards being older than dirt.
I am. Well, we're all heading towards being older than dirt. I mean, you're getting.
I'm a little closer. Not the baby that you all think I am.
The funny thing is Lauren, who's been praying for wrinkles and gray hair her entire life, looked in the mirror the other day. She's like, God, I got wrinkles.
I'm starting to get older person skin. Yes.
Lauren, who came out of the womb 70 and at maturity wise.
Yep.
Except for that whole episode where you thought you were a horse for like 5 years.
Well, I mean, there's that. An old horse.
B thinks she's a dog.
Yes. She's raised with a pack of feral dogs. That's a different conversation.
Yeah. So again, we're so appreciative of you guys, and for those of you who support us, you guys are making a big difference in our lives. You really, really are. For those of you who might be interested in doing that, we have a Patreon account, Patriot Crusader Mission Patreon account. You can go on there, help us there. You can help us by giving us a review on iTunes. You can like, share, subscribe. You can buy swag, whatever you want to do. We do it all. We appreciate all your support, and we want to keep bringing this program to you. It's what we want to do, and it's we feel blessed to have you. We're so thankful for the emails and the messengers telling us how this is helping you in your life. Those really go a long way, particularly during the lean times.
Yeah.
And they're letting you know that, hey, I need to hear this that day or whatever. That's what makes this all worth it. We just want to serve the Lord for the rest of our days. And, we hope this is the way that he wants us to do it because, it's a lot of fun with you guys because you guys are great. So,
Yeah, so I don't know. James the OK said, bro, move forward cautiously. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if it's something diet related or something
maybe
time
that's
commitment related.
Yeah, I'm
If you
not
want
sure.
to expand on that.
Yeah, I'm
And then
happy
Chris
to hear it,
Scott,
James.
I agree with Jocko. Work out early before things start stealing your time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, there's a lot of excuses and all that. The main thing is I feel like I put in the work to grind out what we needed to, and now I feel like I can kind of, scale back from 16-hour days to whatever, to what we can do.
Oh, I think it's always he was calling you old. Oh, you're calling me. Yeah. No, he can call me old all he wants.
Like I said, Lauren wants to be.
There's like one little streak of gray hair, which he thinks is hilarious.
There's some
there's not.
There's totally some stuff going on. Her mom is Snow White, so it's gonna happen here.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's okay.
She finally doesn't get carded like 16 times anymore.
Oh, that's just because I don't try to buy alcohol. I got carded just a couple years ago to watch an R movie at the movie theater, which is 17. That right there was that was a low point.
Well, Lauren doesn't wear makeup or any of that other stuff, so when you got 12-year-olds that look 21 with all their 15 layers of makeup and all that stuff.
What do you say?
You roll in there in your PJs and no Santa PJs today. Hey, Brandy.
Hi, Brandy. I think the most important thing to do when trying to do time management is to not sacrifice the things that are truly important as a Christian. So
right.
Don't sacrifice your God time. Don't sacrifice your family time. Things might need to be adjusted or schedule it differently, be more deliberate in them so you're using that time more wisely. But the knee jerk a lot of times is, can't go, walk the dogs or can't have this time with you before dinner or whatever. And I think when anyone is trying to figure out time management, I think it's important to not let go of those things, even though those aren't what make money. But in the long run, those are the things that matter more.
Yeah, well, it's so hard when you're the provider for the family. You're falling behind. Money isn't coming in, so you think working harder is going to be a part of the equation. Your instinct is work in, money out. So work in, more money out, and it's not always the case, particularly in this COVID economy. So,
and remember that. I can't remember if it was in the small group that we talked about, kind of being the provider, and that provider is in more than just.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not going to miss hours that I worked.
Yeah.
When, I'm on my deathbed and whatever, it's going to be, I wish I saw one more sunset with you and B or whatever, So again.
So if anyone has wonderful time management skills or suggestions, we both could use.
Because right now, we are really a mess.
If I'm Awake is still on here with your 3 kids, I could use some mom advice on how to actually get anything done while wrangling.
Typically what happens is
20-month-old.
Is we're both in our separate worlds doing, working either with, me on this, on the companies, Lauren, either the companies or the baby or the house or life. And I'll come up getting ready to do something for myself, see that Lauren needs a break, and then tag Lauren out, not necessarily to get a break and for Lauren to go do Lauren time. And so Lauren can go do something in that B can't be a part of or whatever. And it's like, it just, as you guys know, it's
Can TS make a time management class as part of security? We need the help with time management, Brandy. We're not ready to teach anyone else.
Yeah. No, all I can tell you is when we figure it out, we'll share it with you.
Yeah.
My main thing is, I agree with Jocko getting up in the morning. I've never regretted getting a workout done in the morning. it's just really hard when you're going to bed at 2 and 3 in the morning to get up at 6.
Yeah. So that's where you have to look at it. Are those extra hours at night
Yeah.
furthering you to the point that it was worth putting that in versus just saying that could wait till tomorrow?
Yeah, and again, I'm not saying that I've done everything ideal. I've definitely, taken some personal time in there where I should have taken the personal time to go to the gym, those types of things. And, I really like you. So when you're available, which is very rare, I just want to, drink you up and spend time with you. And, you're a lot of fun, whether you admit it or not.
Well, I mean, maybe get rid of the nickname Wah Wah Mama, and that will help me think that I'm fun.
Well, I mean, you are Wah Wah Mama, but, that's just because you say no to everything.
Yes. See, I didn't say no to that.
But I mean, so I get up there and it's like, wow, I was about to go work out, but Lauren's free. Yeah. Holy smokes. I got to talk to you about this. And then,
oops, workout. We'll try again tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's what happens. So anything, just pray for me, guys. Again, I'm still making progress. I'm feeling better. Like I'm down in weight. And like I feel healthier than I did when I started this, without a doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
And now it's just a matter of, leaving the work to go take care of myself a little bit. So, all right, guys, I'm going to pray us out here. And unless there's any other comments.
Do you have Ken this Wednesday, or is that not confirmed yet?
I haven't confirmed Ken, but plan on it. I mean, he's going to feel bad about missing last week, so he's never missed 2 weeks.
Otherwise, I'll be filling in for Pastor Ken again.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, Wednesday was one of our best episodes.
Yeah.
I thought we did really good.
Throw it down for Ken, okay.
Well, Ken's Ken. Ken brings the Ken factor, but I thought that you and I did a great,
biblical pondering episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's all the questions that we can't answer.
So, I get up at 4 a.m. and still can't find time to work out. That's, Danae, that's so tough. That's so tough. But we got to find a way to do it, or my problem is I want to go work out for the whole Monty. I want to go do 2 hours. And when I look at the clock and I don't have 2 hours, I don't go do something.
Whereas 30 minutes of elliptical.
Or on the C2 rower or hitting the bag or shadow boxing or even just getting squatting or benching would have been better than nothing.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that I'm going to ruin it for the next day that I don't work out.
No, see.
I don't want to ruin this workout for tomorrow's
that whole don't worry about tomorrow's problems, worry about today. Take that to heart.
Salty Samson, Lauren did a great job filling in last one.
Thank you. Sky, appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome.
And Ken didn't preach. He had set that up a week prior. That guy said invited him in, so that was a planned Ken not doing sermon on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we think he's local.
Yeah, he's local. I just I think that guy just happened to be there.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So I'm gonna pray us out, and we'll see you on Wednesday at 11, or for BYOBB on Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. Bring an adult beverage.
Ready, get your buddy prepped.
And bring a buddy, and we'll celebrate making it through another week. So, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you now. We thank you for the fellowship of our audience and of this group who we lock shields around one another. Lord, we ask that you go to each member here who's watching us and who listens to us and be with them. Help them where they're at. You know where they are, and help them get to where they need to be, Lord, which is closer to you. I pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, everyone. You guys have a great night. God bless you.